This is Ben Davison. Subscribe to Stephen Icon.
If you guys can cast your minds back to 2013, David Haye was supposed to take on Tyson Fury at that time. And the first time he pulled out due to a cut above his eye, even though he said that Tyson Fury wouldn't lay a glove on him, right? But either way, he pulled out, and then they rescheduled, and then ultimately David Haye pulled out for shoulder surgery and was out for 3.5 years. Now, a lot of you guys will remember the sparring footage of David Haye to promote the fight before, of course, he pulled out. And of course, in there he had Deontay Wilder, Marius Wack, and a few others in there, Richard Towers. And going by the cuts and the clips, it made it look like David Haye was getting on top of his opponents, including Deontay Wilder. We've seen Deontay Wilder get wobbled at one point in that sparring session. Now, David Haye did say, of course, all of this was edited to his favour. It was his team that edited it, so it's not like he's hiding anything. But either way, Richard Towers, who was there at the time, and right before then, he's a former sparring partner for Anthony Joshua as he was preparing Joshua for the 2012 Olympics in London. And David Haye at the time was with Adam Booth, right? And according to Richard Towers, that clip doesn't show the whole story of what happened in the sparring. Apparently, Deontay Wilder put it on David Haye, big star. Anyway, let's get into the statement of Richard Towers. Now, of course, maybe Richard Towers has been a little bit biased, maybe, because he is very good friends with Deontay Wilder, as he says right here. So I'll get into his statement. This is Richard Towers' statement. Me and Deontay are friends. We sparred in Sheffield, London, even my kitchen. We're very close, so we go easy. But I remember him just throwing a right hand and not meaning to put anything onto it. But the speed, until you get in there, you don't realise that it's the same for his power. There's no comparison to Deontay Wilder's power, even with Vladimir Klitschko, who tortured me when I first sparred him, and David Haye. You can't make one mistake with Deontay because he hits that hard. He's more agile than any big man that I've ever seen. He hit me with a right hand just above my temple. We had 20-ounce gloves on, and it wobbled me, and I remember my left leg felt really heavy. For 2 weeks after that, I had terrible pain, like someone had a hot knife in the bottom of my foot and was shooting up my leg. But with Deontay Wilder's chin as well, I've hit him clean on the chin and watched David Haye catch him clean on the chin also. But ultimately, he did wipe the floor with David Haye. So that was Richard Towers' statement. So it goes to show, doesn't it? Now, maybe he's just siding with Wilder because he's good friends with Wilder. Obviously, there's like a lot of talk at the minute of Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder going for undisputed. So little things are going to be put out. Of course, a lot of people are picking Anthony Joshua to beat the living crap out of Wilder. Some even dominate him, knock him out even. But Richard Towers, obviously, who's very good friends, but of course he has been a former sparring partner of Anthony Joshua. I don't know if they're still friends, no idea whatsoever. But either way, it's a case of he's saying that the footage that we all seen back in 2013 as David Haye was preparing for Tyson Fury, where he hit Deontay Wilder and wobbled him. Now, of course, he did wobble him, and it's sparring. You can't take too much from sparring. This is the kind of area where you're supposed to get your backside handed to you, we'll put it that way. Okay, you're supposed to go in there and learn. You make mistakes, you learn from the mistakes, you correct them, and then when it comes to fight night, you make sure that you don't make those same mistakes again, right? So, yeah, the footage was definitely in David Haye's favour, but that's not to say David Haye didn't dominate him. You know, just because Richard Towers says so doesn't mean that it is. But, of course, for me, I don't know why, but I actually believe him. I really do. I do believe that Deontay Wilder probably did get the better of David Haye. And it's probably one of the reasons why David Haye ended up pulling out of Tyson Fury fight. Because he pulled out for a little cut. The first time he pulled out, a tiny little cut. Now, ultimately, yes, you are supposed to pull out a fight if you've got a cut, because all it takes is a couple of punches to that area and bleeding will commence and get in the eye, the referee will step in, and you end up losing the fight. Now, he did say, though, that Tyson Fury would not land a glove on him, so clearly he wasn't that confident, which kind of like led me to believe that there was something else going on in camp other than this little nick on his eyebrow. So Deontay Wilder getting the better of David Haye, it stands to reason as to why he pulled out at that time. Ultimately, it's not that important. I mean, that was, 5 years ago now. But even so, it just goes to show that sometimes the footage that we all watch isn't necessarily telling the full story. And of course, we've seen that with Conor McGregor, Paulie Malignaggi as well, right? So anyway, I'm just getting that out there for you, that Richard Towers says that the footage that we all seen of Deontay Wilder sparring briefly with David Haye, it was actually a case of Deontay Wilder wiped the floor with David Haye. Drop your thoughts below, click that thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you next video.